Welcome everybody back again with another episode. This is on our new segment, as you know, Uncensored. For those who've been tuning in, thank you very much. We appreciate it. The feedback has been great. And today we have another guest, and it's our first guest on Uncensored, so that's awesome. And we'll let her introduce herself, and then we'll get right into it.
Hi, my name is Alessia. I run the YouTube channel It's Simply Aless. I started making videos when I was like, 8, 9 years old, but I never really took it seriously. I just did it for fun, just these silly, funny, bad quality webcam videos. And then it wasn't until all these years later that I started making the videos that I do. And the reason I opened my platform and started talking about these things was because I realized I saw growing up that I felt like I saw things differently. I've always been like a very curious person, and I felt different than people my age. I felt like I liked, researching things, going deep into things, and I wanted to give a platform for people who also felt ostracized and who felt like, who kind of started to be aware of what's going on in the world and felt like there's nobody they can go to, or that people would think they're crazy or looking too deep into things. So it kind of gives a platform for me and for people who don't have a voice like that. And yeah, I enjoy what I do. Sometimes I feel like it could be a little bit risky going deep into topics, especially because of our country, how they want to put in all these bills and laws to kind of limit what people say. And yeah, you kind of have to watch what you do, because we've heard of many instances of people getting like kicked out of schools and put on blast publicly for things. But I really do enjoy expressing myself on my channel.
Awesome. Great intro. Great. That was probably the best intro we had. Some guy would just be like, okay, hi, my name is, and just turn back to you. So that was really good. Thank you. We'll get right into it, because obviously we've seen your YouTube stuff. We connected through YouTube, which is really cool. Why did you start it in a sense? And it's cool to see that you started at such a young age. But to go more into that, why YouTube? Why not another platform? And go there.
Okay, so that's actually a good question. Long form videos, I guess.
Cool.
The thing with social media and Instagram and TikTok and things like that is I actually have them deleted. I deleted them like years ago because I don't know, I didn't like what was going on there. I just felt like it's very superficial. Like for me, social media, Instagram, TikTok, it's very superficial. I think on Instagram, people like to just edit everything, and I'm not the type to post pictures. I'd rather share my opinions, and I'd rather share my mind, and that's how you find a good audience. That's how you connect with people. The thing with TikTok is that I feel like with TikTok, it's because of the types of people that are on there, there's a lot of young kids. I feel like it's not good to be on TikTok.
For sure.
Yeah, and it's just, I feel like my channel's more for older, like not the young, or people like they want to understand what's going on.
100%.
And yeah, I think YouTube is a good idea for now. Let's see how long we can post on it.
For sure. I don't think we'll be getting any ban or like the US right now, so that's good.
Hopefully not.
No, hopefully not. But that's cool. And so I noticed like you do all different forms of content. You do reaction videos, you share your opinion on certain topics. So where did you start, and did you always did you start to shift your stuff towards a different type of content, or you just all over what?
So I don't know if I have a specific niche. I definitely would not call myself, forgot to mention this at the beginning, I would not call myself a political channel. I don't do like political analysis, because I have my whole view on politics, and
for sure.
It's a very personal thing.
Yeah, and I also don't feel like it's black and white. It's not a black and white thing, and kind of like you guys were mentioning, sometimes people are so focused on parties and certain people. But I guess the reactions are more because I take what people say and then I give commentary to it. It's not because reaction videos are easier to get views, because they kind of are, but for me it's more the commentary. That's why I don't just sit there and look at it, I comment on it. And then the opinions, those are that too. So it's kind of a mix of both, but I never get outside these two lines. Like you'll never see me making a cooking video on It's Simply Aless. It's always regarding like moral, societal type of issues.
Cool. And so to go on to that, what has been your major topic so far that you discuss on your videos?
I don't know if there's like one specific topic. It's always about kind of like our society and deep thinking for yourself, thinking outside the box, that kind of stuff. So maybe it's not specific.
Okay, cool. And how long did it take you to realize YouTube is growing over time, or that like you were creating like a following through it? Because you're doing pretty good, which is cool to see. So congrats on that.
Thank you.
But how long did it take for you to realize like, okay, like this is rewarding, for example?
That's a good question. I don't know. I guess I started seeing the feedback and what people would say. People actually would hear me out and hear what I have to say, and it made me want to keep going. Even if the videos don't get many views, I still enjoy what I'm doing. Even if it's like 5 people watching, it's 5 people that maybe get inspired, maybe to make a change, to do something. There's one video that really kind of took off, but it's a video that I would never react to. And that video somehow, there was like some feeling that told me to make it, and then I made it. And I know that a lot of those viewers that watched that very popular video are probably not around anymore, but I did get to know some people from it. Like I actually made some online friends from that. Yeah.
That's so cool.
Even though they're like overseas. But yeah, just the positive feedback, just how I feel making those videos. I don't feel shame making those videos. Even though I don't know people that make these types of videos, actually, I don't think I know anybody personally, so I don't really have that type of support system of, oh, I'm doing what you do, I have your back. But I enjoy it. Yeah.
Wow. It's crazy to see though, like, because even from podcasts, we get the same aspect of like you meet a lot of people through putting out something on social media, putting something out on
backgrounds like comedians, politicians.
It's crazy
artists.
to see. Yeah. No, so many, but not even that as a guest, but I'm saying like even more as like the community of it. Like the way we've been talking, we reached out with each other, and like you have people who connect through the channel who follow it.
Just a big network.
Yeah. Like sometimes I'm like, wow, I'm like, holy shit, like people are actually watching it. I'm like, wow, it's working. Like it's rewarding in a way too, to see that the effort is being put back. So that's cool. Awesome. And to go to our next point, obviously, you know, we had a chat off camera a little bit about something that, I mean, I don't know how much it affects the YouTube platform, but the platform of just in general, censorship. What is your view on censorship?
Good question. For me, I feel like the way I see things, it's like people might see something on the surface, like they might see it, they might take it for face value, but I don't take things for face value. I always try to see, okay, maybe there's something up with that. But for me, censorship, I don't think it's ever a good thing. And I'm not saying that people should say whatever they want and make threats and all this stuff. We know that, that's obvious. 100%. But when you start limiting what people say, and that becomes a problem, because what someone made a point, and this was another podcast I was on, they're like, what we're saying now could be fine, and then but in 10 years time it could become illegal.
That's so true.
And you know, I'm just such a person that's so in her head that it's like trying to limit what's in my head or what I say is a bad sign. And also everything is subjective, like, so who gets to say what's right and what isn't? Everything's subjective. Like I could be offended by what you say, you could be offended by what I say or what they say. Like it's very subjective. But I don't think that people who make these bills have our best intentions at heart. I think there's
no idea who that person is.
It's so true. It's so true.
A clown person, we'll say.
Yeah, that's so true. Oh my god.
Don't worry, guys. This is all alleged. Yeah, this is all
But it is so true. Like you never know now, 10 years from now, what our content
like there's
is
shows
perceived
now,
as.
like shows from the 70s that are now showing, like at the beginning it's saying
Three's Company.
Yeah, like Three's Company, Married with Children, all these like old shows. It says now this was filmed in a time where this was acceptable, and now it's not. So viewer advice.
Really?
Yeah.
My mom watches Three's Company. I always see that at the beginning.
No way. I've never seen that before.
Wrong with it. There's like, I don't even know how to
I've seen like the disclaimers, but not that.
It's like I don't know how that's offensive.
Yeah, like my mom says sometimes they make like sexist jokes, but I think it's like about the kitchen. Like I don't think they're really, I don't know. I've never caught on to them. I don't watch it much. So.
Yeah.
But there's so many like nitpicky people.
Oh, 100%. 100%. And so to go into, you know, the whole sphere of that, when you get feedback on your episodes or not really episodes, you know what I mean, content in general, how do you perceive that when you make your next video? Do you take it and like change, or you're like, okay, no, this is my way and that's it?
Well, I've tried to improve audio quality, lighting over time, everything. In fact, but I've never had complaints on like the physical, technical production of it. See, for me, sometimes, like, to be honest, I don't really receive negative feedback or trolls like I did when I was younger. It was terrible. Bad experience, like death threats, it was really bad. But now I'm I mean, I want people to give constructive feedback, but it seems like not many people do, which, I mean, it's okay, but I always want to know how to improve, and I think people just like that I'm open and they think it's different and that I'm expressive, but I don't usually get any negative, like, hate. What I'm trying to say is, like, hate. I'm not at that stage yet, and it's probably because I have a small channel, but also because I think the reason why, too, is because, like, these political channels that are very bold with things, like, they make bold statements, they take sides. I'm not really like that. Okay. Even if in my head I think a certain way, I'm also careful the way I word things, and I try to see all sides to it and be fair.
100%. That's awesome. And so to go a little bit more into your platform and your channel, what is your end goal, or why do you do it, and where are you trying to go with it?
Well, the joke that I make is I would never want to be super famous. Like, I would never want paparazzi following me around. I wouldn't want, like, a huge presence like that, because with big fame comes big responsibility, something like that. Yeah. But I just enjoy what I do. Like, you know, even more subscribers, like, in the thousands, but not in the millions. Yeah. And, I mean, if I can have some sort of a side income, sure. Why not? But I don't know if I see myself being, like, a full YouTuber. And the reason why is because I'm still developing my ideas, and the fact that I don't take, like, bold sides is maybe what turns some people away, because maybe some people are more, what's the word I'm looking for? Competitive, or they like to hear that stuff. Yeah. So when people have these kind of nuance, or, like, in the middle, they kind of, they might not want to really watch, but I also don't really do anything too bold or clickbaity either. I just try to keep it natural. Yeah, I've seen, that's good. And you know, we were kind of the same way. Like, when we first started, first off, we had no experience with YouTube, no experience with editing, no experience with nothing. Still don't really to an extent, but we're learning. And I think, like, at first we had no clickbaiting, no thumbnails, no nothing. It was like, literally the title was episode 1 with blank. And now it's like, oh, that makes a difference. Mm-hmm. Change this, change that. And you see it, like, progress over time, and it's really cool. Yeah, and you guys have, like, such a cool location.
Thank you. Yeah. Appreciate it. We're trying to clean it up now. Today we actually cleaned it up, but yeah, awesome. Coach?
So now time for some juicy conversation.
Juicy?
That was more like podcast.
Oriented? Yeah, okay.
It felt too structured.
Okay. Change it up, Coach.
Yeah.
Change it up?
Lighthearted, sure.
Okay. What to talk about?
What do you want it to? No, don't clickbait it though. But what do you?
I want you guys to give your opinions too, though. Like.
Okay.
On your channel. Or on what?
You guys decide.
On censorship. Tell us, what do you want us to talk about?
I don't know. Give me, if you guys want, though. If you guys don't want to, it's okay. Give me, like, one of your most hot take, controversial, unpopular opinions.
On?
Anything that's a hot take.
Okay, I'll go first.
Yeah.
Don't kill me if you're around our age. But I think that people around our age are very... I feel like they're just too much in a box. Like, they don't think too much with their mind.
That's good.
Listen, I'm not saying anything bad. I'm just saying I think that they're too... look, even people older, but I think that there's people that are too fixated on social media, pop culture, and they believe everything they read. And I think... And in terms of, like, morals and values, I think that people's, like, morals and values are kind of, like, going down. Yeah. And now we're seeing things, like, for example, this would be such a good conversation. Yes. The red pill stuff. That would be such a good... You guys don't know what that is? No. Like, you know, the whole Andrew Tate... I have so much to say about that.
Okay, fair.
So, like, for example, things like that. So what I'm trying to say is, like, the pendulum is swinging now. Like, I feel like we got people that were a certain way, you know... do everything you want, progressive, to now it's going the complete opposite in a sense. I'm seeing that happening now. Like, people our age, some of them are becoming even more traditional than their parents, I'm noticing. Like, really? They're just very, it's like the pendulum is swinging a little bit now, it seems. Like, in general. Yeah. In general.
In general. I mean, I'm just thinking if I've seen it before yet. Maybe I'm in a box, but I don't know.
I feel like our generation is more, what's the word? More, like, we like to explore, I think, a bit more.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's good, though.
Yeah. But I also think, like, to go to the box thing, a lot of our generation is...
I think it's our parents that have done that.
I think it's society. Like, I think social media, in a way, has done a bad thing where it scares, it fears people to want to put themselves out there. to want to do stuff like making a YouTube channel and doing this, doing a video. Yeah. No, not the hate is they're afraid of the
outcome.
Yeah, what people's opinions are going to be about it.
Oh, like they're afraid of judgment.
Yes,
sensitive.
100%, and people just don't put themselves out there for that. Like we got friends who just have an account but have never posted a photo in their day in their life. They just have it to consume it, but not to actually use it. And the craziest thing is a lot of people don't understand is that social media, but one of the main reasons and tools it's used for is for promotion. Is used to promote whether it's a brand, yourself, a company, business, a channel. Like that's what the main focus and reason is how you use it properly. But some people misconceptualize that and they use it for different reasons, whether it's good or bad.
It's funny you guys say that because sometimes I wonder like if I did promote my channel on like Insta, TikTok, all this stuff, like how it would do. But if people want to do that, by all means. But I did some sort of an experiment with my sibling about putting like a certain video on a certain platform, and it didn't do. Like I know it's because it's like you have to continue to do it, but I just don't want to have these apps on my phone. Maybe it's something within me and my problem, but I don't.
And hey, that's fair. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, like for the longest time, we didn't post on TikTok because we felt the same way. But then we kind of just put into it because we're like, oh my God, we're doing all this work for one video. It was just like, at this point, we might as well. Yeah. But we haven't focused on them in the same way we do to the others. Huh?
But still doing well.
Yeah, it's doing decent. It's doing okay.
Yeah, and maybe for me, it's like more of a sense of a community. So for example, I would love to have, even if it's not a huge like community, but like a huge, let's say, or some sort of a community of people in this country, or even closer to me that are around my age, even a bit older, that it's like a sense of community. Maybe for me it's more of a community than just, because I would never call my viewers like fans. I would say supporters, I would say friends, community. I would never say fans. Like I don't see a dynamic like that. No, I don't. I would never do that.
The Jake Paulers. Oh my God. It's true though, and it's good that you see it that way too. I think that's the right way to see it, in my opinion. But
now, what's your hot take?
That was my hot take, I think. On what? I don't understand this whole hot take.
Okay, fine. I will explain. Like, I guess some like an opinion that you have to put out there that you think kind of like is a bit controversial, uncensored.
Okay.
Gender wage gaps.
Gender wage gaps. Ooh.
So, like, do you think PWHL hockey player should make the same as someone that's in the NHL?
So, okay. When it comes to like weight, I thought you were gonna say something else when you started with the gender, but with wage gaps, I never put thought into it really. I know that most people believe it's not real. Well, it depends who, but I've never put much thought, and maybe because I don't have anybody to compare to, like. But I've never put much thought, and I guess you get paid based on the work you do, right? I've never put any thought, because the thing with me is like, I think we're living in such a day and age that if you try to discriminate people, it's going to be so obvious. It's going to be on the news. It's going to be everywhere. So
why do it?
Yeah, 100%. Once it's out there, it's out there. The other day.
So with wage gaps, I don't know what to say. I don't.
Yeah, that's fair.
There's like some people that will say like that they should be paid the same. Yeah. But like my personal opinion, I think not, because you can't compare that league to like the NHL. But if it's say it's like work. You have a CEO of like McDonald's, and it's a woman. The price should not be any different if it was a man.
Yeah,
it's the same job.
100%.
Yeah, so
but when it comes to like sports, I guess because I'm very like active in the sports world.
Yeah.
I don't think it's like right for them to say I should be paid the same if they don't bring in the same type of like
engagement,
yeah. Well, somebody I know was saying about the what's it called now? I don't want to use the wrong terminology. Like the men's soccer, like
here, FIFA? The one here. MLSC?
No, in general, like in the world, like
FIFA.
Yeah, but like the World Cup, like when it comes to like men versus women sports, this person was saying, it makes more sense for the men to get paid more just because it's more viewed. It's nothing against the women. It's just more viewed. It's more all this and that, which I guess it makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Because
it's all the business.
Listen, if the women were to make like, more viewership, then 100%. There's no reason why not. But it hasn't come to that yet.
UFC, the highest paid fighter was Ronda Rousey, who was a woman. And the owner was asked, why do you pay a woman the most money? And it's because she brings in the views.
Yeah.
So whoever brings in the most views I think should be paid the most.
Yeah, I don't think gender should be involved in that at all, male or woman. But
yeah, and I guess, sorry, just quickly back to like that hot take of mine. I also feel like our generation should be more comfortable to put bold opinions out there and to be okay with going outside the norm, because I think people are just afraid, like they want to fit in so bad, so they're not going to open their mouth and say anything. They're not going to share their mind, when I think it's worse, because I think that if you share your mind and you, like if you complain that you have nobody around you that's like you and you want to find like-minded people, if you're yourself, you'll find, like naturally at some point people will gravitate towards you.
100%. 100%. It's very true. Cool. You want me to give a hot take?
Yeah.
Okay. What is, okay, how do you guys feel about the I mean, this isn't really okay, sure. How do you feel about right now's living situation here in Canada, post-pandemic versus pre?
Do you guys are posing these as questions, so I feel on the spot now. You guys go first.
Okay, Nick.
So about the housing?
No, not housing. Like as a pandemic, like lifestyle-wise, have people changed work, life, living?
I feel like it's gotten more expensive.
Okay.
I feel like society has gotten a bit more, not dumb, but like slow, in terms of like everybody's now more tech. I feel like people have less people skills.
More antisocial.
Like I go to grocery store and like there's like these like punk kids working there, and, like they don't know how to communicate, and yeah, that's what I would say about. I think that's how the pandemic, because like I think the pandemic, you look at people say like in grade 1, let's say, they were stripped of like their most like valuable years of learning how to communicate. Yeah. But now, like fast forward like 3-4 years, their people skills and everything that they were supposed to develop is gone. So they don't really know how to like communicate and all that. And, like if you like see, like I don't know if you see, but like a lot of like younger kids, like when I taught skating, a lot of them are very bratty, complain, whine, and I think I kind of blame the pandemic. Also kind of parents too, maybe.
Yeah, when people are like cooped up at home on TikTok with the fast dopamine, like scroll. But in terms of, I think people are more antisocial, and you know, I feel like maybe people think like that I have like a large group of friends because like I'm very expressive, but it's kind of the complete opposite, you know. I think for me, the pandemic, I mean, I don't know if it's affected my, like, when it comes to social, because I still, like, when I go to the grocery store, I'll say thank you. I'll still, like, have this conversation. But I definitely think, the pandemic, if we're even allowed to say that word, because sometimes YouTube will censor, like, words pertaining to that. The C,
really?
the idea.
Oh, okay.
I've seen people, like, having to use different words.
Okay. Just
letting you guys know.
Thank you. Might be bleeping this out.
No, we'll post it, see what happens. I doubt it.
No, we'll figure it out.
No, not that they'll take it down, but like.
Yeah. It's censored.
Like viewer discretion advised.
Or like the whole warning information thing.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was a really bad thing what happened, and I really do feel bad for the younger people.
100%. Cool. I mean, if you guys don't mind, I'll go again because I'm thinking about stuff. What are your thoughts, both of you, like hot take on university being something like that you need, or like post-secondary education in order to get a future, in order to get a position, a job, a career?
You want to go first?
Okay. I feel like for my degree, you need to go because it's science and it's health. So you kind of need to know more advanced stuff. Like I'm learning like stuff that like I would never have learned in like grade 12 bio or chem. Okay. And but for say like business, you can't learn business from people who have never owned a business. Mm-hmm. Like you go to university, like the local one here, and they're probably driving like a Toyota Corolla or something, some like really old car. And like usually they say business people are very successful, but you're learning from people that have never owned a business.
Yeah, so about that, I definitely see what you're saying. I would say it just depends what you want to do. And it just depends what jobs, right? Like when it comes to office jobs and things like, I don't want to throw shade on anybody's jobs, but I can't see myself doing things that,
like an ordinary job.
Yeah, like that. I need to do a job that requires like my empathy, my brain, like my thinking skills. And I think that it just depends what you want to do. The thing is, I don't think you need to go necessarily post-secondary. It's a choice because some people become social media influencers and then they're fine. However, I think society will view you differently, especially if you're a man and you considered like not educated or whatever. I think that they'll see you differently. Like as a man especially, I think that they'll see you differently, but I also think just because you have like a PhD or just because you've gone to university or college, it doesn't necessarily mean you're
smarter,
like
intelligent,
you're
or you're wise, or
you're smart in a certain subject.
Yeah,
you're not well-rounded.
Yeah, that's so true.
But I feel like university also gives you, like not opens doors, but like it exposes you to like other things that you would not normally
see.
Like, cause like you're away for university, so it exposed you to living alone as compared to me. I'm local.
Yeah. But so, you can live alone without university.
True. But it also teaches you stress, how to cram for an exam, like collaborative. Like if you have to do like class project,
time management,
people skills. I don't know. Like if you want to talk to, like I know a lot of people think the professor's scary to go talk to.
Yeah.
I go talk to him every day. Well, not now because they're on strike, but.
That's cool.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I was in a study. I keep it very general just for like privacy reasons because like when I was younger, I've had bad experiences online and I don't want people, finding things out. Like I value my privacy even though I'll share my mind. I just don't share personal information like that. But I will study again, something I'm not going to say what, but I was studying. I switched because it was just, I went in it with a good mindset. Like it was about helping people, but it became very politically driven and it became very biased. I felt like I was going to walk on eggshells being in that classroom. There's even something my professor said, just as an example. So I'll just tell you guys like briefly. It was kind of like social work, but it was more like mental health, like things like that. And we kind of talked a lot about like historical and, how to talk to people and empathy and active listening. It was good. However, it became very politically driven in a sense where it became, I guess, what some people who watch this would call, I don't know if I should use this term.
Demonetized? Demonetized?
No, it's more, it was just in a way where I feel like they were kind of passionate about, how do I put this? It just seemed like what you would see online. Like, when those things come up in the news or in these independent medias that, oh, they said this, they said that. Like, for example, I'll just tell you guys one example because I'm not revealing what school it is. But we were talking about microaggressions and stuff if you guys know what that is. Yeah. And the professor was literally saying, she's like asking somebody where they're from. And keep in mind, we have like a bunch of international students in my class, mainly international students. They were really nice and everything. But she literally said, asking somebody where they're from is racist. I'm not joking.
I've heard someone say this though before.
I'm not joking.
I've heard somebody say this.
I said this on my channel too. She's like, and I said, oh, so what are we supposed to say? And she's like, most of the time it's not with good intentions. And
that's dumb.
And there is also this lady in my class who was a Christian, and she was being bold about things, and you could just tell like there was a little bit of tension between people, and I just felt like, being the person I am with me believing in God, me like this, I just felt like I was gonna be walking on eggshells.
Yeah.
But I feel like culture is, I don't know. I feel like it should be expressed. Like, I
mean, we grew up in a country that allows that. Not a lot, but like is.
But the fact that your school said that.
Yeah, like I'm curious about where people are from, and at that moment I felt attacked or like targeted because I'm literally wanting to know where people are from, ethnicities. I love learning different languages.
Helps you get into conversation with people too.
Yeah, and especially with the international students, now they're gonna have this view of people here that I just.
Wow.
And that's just one of other examples. There was. Okay, well, this one's very controversial, and I'm not going to say what I feel about this, but as an example, we did a quiz, and a lot of them were open book online. So imagine all the cheating that was going to take place. Listen, no hate, okay? No hate. Look, I do believe that the people in this program and the professors have good intentions, but it just became so politically driven. Like, if we were the opposite, like, if another political party comes into power, what's going to happen? Because it was too, like, social event, politically type of, like you can't critically think. If you tried to think, give an idea, you would probably be shut down. That's what I feel like in my class. Like you can't question narratives. Like even the professor was kind of, some of them I noticed when people were kind of objecting, they kind of tried to shut it down. Like you could tell. I feel
there's a limit.
Yeah. It wasn't even like so deep things. It was just normal things. One of them was on the quiz we did, it was about one of the questions, and when it was a true or false question, it was using the wrong pronouns is an act of violence, true or false. And when I saw that, I was like, I thought to myself, I'm like, this is literally what you see on YouTube. Like, this is the type of stuff that people make videos about. And look, I answered the question, but like, I did the quiz, whatever, but I'm like, listen. The people we are helping are vulnerable. And for me personally, I just think that making everything about somebody's physical appearance and identity is just taking away from their inner issues. Like, and I might be wrong about this, and that's why I'm putting this out there, but if I'm struggling with something, and I'm struggling with anxiety, depression, I want you to help me with the anxiety and depression. I don't want you to think, okay, because she's this age, because she looks like this, she must be struggling with this, and this. Like, focus on the issue. And I think that, and I could be wrong, and I don't want to make claims like this, but I just feel like when people are suffering so much internally, they're not so focused on the outwards stuff. I think that people that focus so much on identity and outwards things are suffering in a different way, right? Because like when I was going through a lot of anxiety, a lot of things, because it was like medical things, I was not worried about all this stuff. I just wanted to get better internally. I didn't care. Yeah. You know, like when people say, for example, I like saying this, I would never feel like, personally right now, I would never feel oppressed for being a woman. I would feel oppressed for my beliefs. That's what I would feel.
That's fair. Yeah.
Like I would feel oppressed or ostracized or left out for the way I think. Yeah. Because I feel like the way I think is considered wrong in this country or in this day and age with how things are going.
Yeah. 100%. 100%.
Sorry, I took it down that lane.
No, it was great. That's what it's for.
Like when I witnessed it like firsthand, I'm not trying to be, you know, look, I have no hate towards anybody. I don't swear at people. I don't call people names. Genuinely, I don't have that hate in my heart. I believe in God. I genuinely have. But you also have to realize that there's a bigger picture involved. Like when people are so focused on like the little things here and there and making problems where they don't exist. Like why do you have to say asking somebody where they're from is like seriously?
No.
Like seriously.
People should be proud where they come from.
Yes.
Even if it's like a bad
because
country.
They basically thought that asking someone where they're from is trying to say that you don't belong here. Like, oh, like if you ask somebody that doesn't look Canadian, which Canadian is even... That it's like you're trying to say, oh, where are you from? It's
but when I think of Canadian, I don't think...
Of
like
the
picture,
of
I don't think any of us would fit. When I think Canadian, I think of like blonde, blue-eyed...
Or technically...
I can't even think of someone when I think the word Canadian, sorry.
No, I was going to say, technically, you can argue, like, Canadians are, like, natives. Like, the Canadians. I mean, Canadians would be hockey, poutine.
Yeah. Igloos, maple syrup, trees, pine trees, maple trees. Like, I don't even think of, like, if you say, okay, American, you think of a...
Hot dogs.
Yeah, but food, like you think of like big, everything like
everything's
guns.
Big,
guns,
baseball.
But when you think of Canada, I feel like there's so many cultures, so many different people that it's just about being in the country and having your own culture. I was gonna go back to the whole he, him, they, them thing just because it's very interesting.
I know, like at my university, like all my professors, all the TAs, like after they send an email, it says like when I first got there, I had no idea what that meant. It was like he, him, or whatever.
Kind of.
And I had no idea what that meant.
Actually, they wanted me to write my pronouns in the about me thing. I didn't. And not because I don't have pronouns or because I hate those people, but it's like feeding into something. Like, look, please, by all means, take care about issues, but do not create them where they're not there by creating them by saying, this person's hateful because they look like this. This person hates you because they're like that. Because, you know, it's funny because despite the way we look, we're also of an ethnicity who, at some point in Italy, were kind of like discriminated as well, but we don't look like it. So it's like, don't assume.
Like last year in my Italian history class, I learned that, I don't know if you guys know, there was, you know, like how Jewish people had concentration camps?
Yeah.
There was Italian concentration camps in Canada.
Yeah,
they hated Canadians.
They hated Italians too.
Italians have done so much.
They built the city,
They built the city. The road that we're on was probably built by Italians or Portuguese.
His building was.
But where is our like celebration?
It's not a celebration.
But like
respect.
Like we recognize all these other.
And I'm sure your grandparents are the same way. Your parents are the same way. Like our parents or grandparents, they all mention it to a certain point too. Is like they'll say like, oh, when I came to Canada, this so and so.
We assimilated. We did this.
Yeah, or like this is how it was. But now the people come into the country and they're given everything. They're
given our tax money.
Like our grandparents, I've heard stories of they've had curfews. Like when they came to Canada at 9, 10 o'clock, Italians had to be inside. You weren't allowed out. Yeah. And our grandparents' time, like that's how it was here. They weren't allowed to go out. Italians had to go to work and go to bed.
But now the Canadian government also makes it harder, a little bit hard. Like they bring in so many people, but they also try to bring in people that are like educated. So like say like I had a doctor that I went to see for my ankle. He's in Egypt. He's like a real doctor, but here he has to redo all his schooling.
Yes.
So I don't know why they would bring in someone that's this capable, but now make him spend money.
It's a business.
Doing more schooling if he's actually more educated
than ours.
And which I also feel like that the Canadian health system is a little wonky, a little bit.
Yeah.
It's good, but it's...
Yeah, like there's somebody overseas in Eastern Europe that is like studying that I know to be like a pharmacist. Shout out to you if you're watching. And like if this person comes here, I don't know if they're going to have to redo everything or how, because they have like skills that they can bring to the country.
Because science, like what I'm learning right now, I could become a doctor. Like everything I'm learning, but...
Yeah, they don't recognize a lot of things. I don't think
there's any difference if it was taught in Sweden, if it was taught in China.
No. In a way, it's actually probably more better.
They have more, for example, there's some issues that they're more well-versed in like the US and they bring it here or whatever country.
Yeah.
And like more natural things maybe. But yeah, about what you guys said about bringing so many people in, like the housing issue we have, that's what worries me. Mm-hmm. Like it can't keep up.
Like, I don't know why they come to Toronto where... If you like look at the
most saturated,
like when our grandparents came, Montreal was like the head, or like the biggest city, but then they brought them to Toronto, when Toronto wasn't the biggest city.
Yeah,
but we built up Toronto.
Yeah,
and I feel like Toronto's now just so overpopulated.
Oh yeah.
But now, like why? Like so now we're getting more influx. Why don't we bring them to like Winnipeg, Saskatchewan?
Yeah, build the other provinces.
Undeveloped cities.
Dead empty.
Yeah.
There's actually there's conspiracies about that and stuff like that for sure. That some people would probably say, oh, this is why. But yeah, I mean, there's other cities that need to be more popular. Now people seems like they're trying to move out of the big cities too. Some people.
Like so many people.
Yeah, that's so true.
Canada.
I know a lot of people who have, they moved to Calgary, moving to other places for expense reasons, but also for just a quieter lifestyle.
I don't blame them.
Yeah, I don't either. And that's to a point, I wonder if I were to do that in the future too, like just the way things are going. It's like I feel like we all had our time in their own place where we grow up and so forth. But if this is the way Canada's going, it's.
But I feel like Canada 10 years ago, when it was under Stephen Harper, I feel like that's like when I think Canada, I think that was like prime Canada. But now after like all this new leadership and all that, I feel like it's just gone downhill, and I feel like it's going to be like a really deep hole. To get
back up to.
Yeah.
It's like I feel like Canada used to be such a great country.
No, I understand it. If Trudeau wins again, there's gonna be riots. Like people are gonna leave.
I'm going to Italy. I'm leaving.
Can you? Do you have like the?
Yeah.
Tool?
I don't know.
I'm getting it.
Yeah, you're gonna get it. You'll get it. It takes time. It takes a lot of time.
Everyone's trying to do it all of a sudden.
Yeah, and we said that in the last one. We were talking.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, everybody is trying to get a different citizenship or something.
I know, and everybody that's like in other countries, because I have a lot of viewers in other countries. They're like, oh, you guys are always complaining about things, and you guys, why is everybody trying to come here? Okay. Okay, yeah, but you know, then if we stay quiet and things get worse, and it's like, why didn't you speak up before? We're trying to, but then you say we complain about everything, right? It's just like we can recognize our own problems in our own country and say something. Look, I'm thankful I was born here, like genuinely thankful. But if we notice issues, we got to put a stop to them, because then it's the same people that are going to say, why didn't you guys do something sooner? If God forbid this country turns into some really big disaster.
Some communist dictatorship.
100%.
Which I already feel like it is. They'll probably censor this podcast maybe.
And that's the other thing, like when we post stuff like Uncensored, the biggest conversation we had was like, what do we do? What's going to happen? Do we have to put on a subscription thing? Like, what is people's opinion going to be on it? Like if we're trying to get to a point where it's monetized, what do we do?
This country's built on the freedom of speech. There shouldn't be anything hateful that you should say. Like, I shouldn't say anything derogatory or mean.
Yeah, I would never
But it should
either.
be my opinion.
Yeah, but the U.S. we don't really have, like, apparently we don't have freedom of speech, just like freedom of expression, but the U.S. does. So
yeah, the U.S. does. And we follow their environment and atmosphere that we think we have the same rights, but sometimes we got to watch that we don't.
Yeah, and I don't know if this is true, but apparently I saw this article, because I'm not really keeping up with the news anymore.
Yeah.
It was actually getting to me really badly. Like, that's a whole other story.
For
but, like,
sure.
something in Scotland where they, with the smartphones and the smart TVs, like, they're allowed to listen to what you say, but, like, get you in trouble for that. I don't know if it's true, though. Like,
yeah.
I have to do research, but...
It's the same in China. China, you can't have WhatsApp.
But if you say something, you're dead.
Yeah, like, for example, if you talk to somebody in China on the phone about something...
You have to use their thing. You have to use their WeChat.
No, not even that, though. Your conversation, though. If you say, as a Chinese citizen, if you say something bad about the Chinese government, there's punishment towards that.
But
over the phone.
Yeah, like, apparently, I don't know if the UK is, like, worse than us right now, because there might be some countries in Europe that are a little bit worse than we are now, but we're kind of, like, similar to them. It's the US that's different.
Yeah.
And I think they'll fight more for this. And also what surprises me a lot is that people do all these protests for other countries, which you want to do that, but they never do it for our issues. I mean, we had the convoy, which I'm sorry, every time I see it, I get emotional because I'm like, this is a bunch of Canadians from all walks of life coming together. It gets me emotional, whatever the cause is.
And then they went and did the whole ban on the banks and stuff like that. It's crazy.
I'm saying people create problems where they're not there. Like, that's what I'm saying. That's why it goes back to that where are you from thing. That teacher thinks it's bad, and that teacher's actually European assumed as well. But then if I ask somebody that's from other places where they're from, they're like, oh, you're interested in my culture. Wow. So don't create problems where they're not there. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I think it's very interesting.
Oh, yeah. 100%. 100%.
Yeah, and in terms of, like, politics, too, I don't trust politics. I mean, yeah, maybe there's one side that I seem like I'd be more likely to be a part of, but I don't trust it either because... like, if the conservatives get in power, but like they might start doing these weird things. I'm not saying they're gonna do this too, but they could. What are they gonna do? Like, what if they start censoring things? I don't know.
Well, all politicians lie.
Yeah.
Exactly.
They just say it to get voted for.
Interesting.
I have a question. Do you guys ever feel, or is it just sometimes an anxiety thing? Do you guys ever feel like sometimes this paranoia that maybe what you're saying is too controversial, that like, not that they're gonna take down your channel, but maybe this is like a movie thing, but do you guys ever get paranoid about expressing these types of opinions publicly?
When you say paranoid, like a worried?
Or maybe I shouldn't ask this.
No, go ahead.
No, I mean, like, do you guys feel, okay, let me ask this. Do you guys feel, I guess, confident in what you say, or do you feel like, I don't know if, maybe I'm not saying.
No, I get what you're saying.
Well, when we first did our first Uncensored, I was like very like
you were
like very like
calling me,
like I was saying like what if I want to become a teacher, they find this
same with my study, well, not teacher, but exactly.
Or like any job, and like they find me saying this stuff, and I said like, even though I know it's not wrong, people will feel like it's wrong if I come back to haunt me.
That's why I don't put my last name out there. I'm like, no, you won't find me.
This is how I see it. In the security aspect, I understand what you're saying, and I really do. I was at first really like that. But then it came to a point, I don't know if it was an experience that made me change, or like just the fear of like, oh, you only have so much time and stuff like that. But the way I view it now is like, if someone views it wrong, whether it's like gonna affect me or not, I don't believe that if they view it wrong, then that's something truthful, or that I have to believe that, or that I have to continue with that. I just think I have a valid opinion. I can share it. If people like with it and they follow us and they go for it, great. If they don't, it's also great.
Yeah, don't bend to the crowd.
Yeah, like exactly. And I feel like you only have one life to live, as cringe as it sounds.
Yeah, and also
just do what you can.
I was gonna say, like, back to the thing, like, even if they did find you, for example, you can fight for that, because we don't know in the future who's gonna be in charge, and even if not, you will get massive support. Because I notice people, even if they get shut down, like, for example, that thing that happened, I don't know if you guys heard of that guy Josh Alexander, the whole situation with like the guy in the Catholic school and Save Canada.
Oh yeah.
For example, that happened to him, but he got massive support. So I feel like even if you're in that position where now you're losing job, you'll have like GoFundMes, you'll have like some sort of a platform, like people will
There's always somebody who will understand you
and have your back.
Yeah, a community. Yeah, everyone, I feel like in a sense, everyone has the same opinion in their different area. Like everyone will have their own opinion, but there will be groups of that.
Yeah, I think more people think like this than we think. They just don't want to say it because they're afraid, or maybe they think it's obvious.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Who knows? It's the stereotype. Very true. Yeah.
What do you guys think of the current school system?
Which?
What do you guys just think? Just like the public school system, like what's being taught. Like how do you feel? Like how do you feel? Like that, like the LGBT education is like being brought in. Like they're having like drag queens as like librarians. They're like decorating the door and everybody's like dancing. Like how would you feel if that was your kid going to that school?
Okay, so for my school, even though for my school, like obviously it's higher up education, like it's not young people, they actually did have the pride flag at some point and then they took it down. I don't know what happened. I actually was the one that brought it up to like this person I was like friends with at them. Like I noticed that.
Yeah.
And also at a Catholic school, like a Catholic school that I used to go to, they have the pride flag up. Actually, but about that, okay, you guys go first. I have to think of.
I feel like, for me, I support them. Like I have nothing against them.
Yeah.
But once it starts to become like once they're starting to impose it on me to believe what they think, and starting to like buy in
pressure into
and like
it.
buying into them, I don't like that. Especially like how do I say this? Like, how do I say this? Like I think they're too much right now, and it's just like in your face, all over. And if I were to have a kid, I wouldn't want them to be subjected to that at a very young age. Like maybe in high school, like later year high school, like it should be taught, like in like sex ed or whatever. But it shouldn't. It shouldn't be like a 6-year-old doesn't even know what like what 2 + 2 is.
Yeah.
But they can assume a gender.
Yeah.
So.
No, I agree. Like I think even to say they put it in your face, but it's also become to a point where it's become an accessory to like a business scheme.
Mm-hmm. Like all these like Starbucks, Nike, like on Instagram, they all change their logos to like rainbow. Yeah. And like Skittles gets rid of their rainbow.
That's not because they believe in it or anything. That's because they have to do it.
Because it gets.
Yeah.
Sorry?
Virtue signaling?
Yeah. It's an interesting.
I feel like that the Trudeau government has like made it so like prominent.
100%. You?
For me, I'm more concerned about the medical side of it. Yeah, because about this, I'm more concerned. Well, obviously, I don't hate anyone. I really don't. Yeah. For me, it's just all the medical side. Because the thing when it comes to this kind of stuff is like already, I believe we live in such a hypersexualized society that whenever kids are involved with anything that's like hypersexual, whatever it is, straight, not straight, I just think it's a problem. I think our society is too hypersexual from a young age. People are too involved in things and what they see online and all this kind of stuff. So definitely like anything that has to do with kids getting like hypersexualized or being exposed to things that are like hypersexualized, like I said, straight, not straight, is always going to be an issue. But when it comes to this topic, I'm more concerned. See, the funny thing is I don't even talk about this on my channel yet, but I'm concerned about the medical side of it because I'm just concerned when it comes to kids' medical things that are unnecessary because basically when if I may share something personal, when I was 14, I basically was put on antidepressants and I didn't even need them. And I was not depressed, I was not anxious. I just went to this psychiatrist who actually has really bad reviews that I didn't even realize. And then you know what the problem was? And I haven't talked about this on my channel yet, but I will soon. I just felt different from people. I literally just felt different, which was probably me growing up. Like I was 14 and I was put on them, like whatever, and then getting off them was a nightmare. Like I developed all these issues I never had before. I developed really bad anxiety. My nervous system, even to this day, things are still kind of dysregulated. Like it's getting better, but I developed all these health issues. And whenever I see things about kids getting involved in unnecessary medical procedures, which along that thing, it hurts because it's like, I almost feel for them in a different sense because if you're given something when you were young that can hurt you or that has a possibility of these side effects and you weren't informed. Like I think that what happened to me was like medical malpractice and even I had to join these Facebook groups about people saying that this kind of medication should be illegal and all this kind of stuff. And I think that when kids get unnecessarily medicalized when it comes to like mental health medication or, that stuff, it's like it could be really bad in the future. Like, I'm not anti-medicine. It's just you have to see the pros and cons, and also how it affects young minds, because I even had to stop. I tried to even make sure that my sibling doesn't go through the same thing. And when I see these stories about young people being put on unnecessarily medicalized, to keep it general like that, I feel it. Like, it hurts my heart, because I'm like, they might suffer in the future. They don't have informed consent. Like, if I knew what I knew then now, I would never touch those things.
Well, I feel like drugs are more accessible to kids now. Like marijuana. Like, if I needed to get marijuana right now, I know, like, teammates. I know.
You can walk into.
I know. I could literally probably go across the street and knock on every door and say, "Do you have marijuana?"
Yeah.
And probably someone will have it.
Yeah, or like a kid is anxious for some reason, and then they just put them on medication. Like, there's
they could just do like the research, go to Shoppers, and just buy something.
Like,
no one's gonna stop them.
Yeah, and I think that they give out, certain medication like it's candy, when there could be other alternatives to it, and because there's side effects to these things, and there could be other alternatives, like, could be vitamin and mineral deficiencies. It could be just puberty. It could be something they're going through. It doesn't always have to be like a medicine thing. Like, I would say in like very extreme cases, but again, if a child doesn't need medication, if there's another way around it,
shouldn't give it to them.
There should be a lot more education towards this, I think.
And why isn't this taught in school?
Why? I think our system in general is just very old-fashioned and hasn't been updated, and is very difficult to update, very difficult to make a change in. Whether that's because of people who are involved in that industry.
I feel like they are changing, because like in English class, we weren't taught English. I don't know if you remember, but it wasn't English. We literally learned about like rights, civil movements, or whatever it's called, all that stuff. Like, we weren't taught English. Like, we weren't taught grammar. We weren't taught cursive. We weren't taught none of that.
I wasn't taught cursive. Like, we learned cursive for like 2 classes. That's it. We
that was like in grade 3. In grade
Didn't
3,
they change that now though?
Yeah, now they're bringing it back.
But I think that's good.
But like, we never taught grammar. We only read one Shakespeare book. It's supposed to be English. So
just like do things properly, and it doesn't take away from what people are going through and struggles. But like, I think that people are focused too much on the past or too much in the future. It's like the problems we have now. We just need we need teachers to go into the system. We need better doctors and teachers that are actually
and better
open-minded.
leaders.
And more passionate versus for the finances of it.
Open-minded too.
Awesome.
Any more hot takes?
We covered a wide variety. Anything, Alessia?
I don't know. I have to think about that.
Very interesting. See, this was a lot better than our first one. The first one we just randomly went off.
Just like read off the computer.
ChatGPT did. I mean, it was good, but it was very generic. Versus we're actually having a conversation, and there's there's more opinions to it, which is great.
Yeah, and like I'm really honest about what I say. I don't try to follow trends, because if I did that, that's inauthentic. It could catch up to me, because if people start seeing holes in my arguments and holes in my opinions, but it's because think about it like this, right? Why would we, if our opinion is considered unpopular, controversial, possibly getting consequences for it, why would we even express them? Why would we take that risk if we're not being genuine? So if we feel like this, we actually feel like this. Because I don't know if I would lie, because it's not like we're getting views from this, millions of views. So I'm honest about what I say. Sometimes it might go a bit back and forth. Sometimes I might change my mind a little bit about things. For example, when I started thinking about this more recently, it's like sometimes things that happen are sensationalized and people are weaponized. Like, for example, these things that we see, sometimes they're isolated events with certain groups of people. It's not everybody. Like my big issue is grouping people in boxes and saying all women are like this, all this ethnic group are like this. Or just for isolated incidences, it's the whole group is bad. Like, I don't like that. Growing up, I've never actually really had close friends that were Italian. It's funny. I'm Italian. But it's always been different people, different religions, different everything. So I don't...
Different backgrounds,
Yeah, so putting people in boxes, whether that's any sort of group, color, orientation, religion, gender, it's not right, because you have to look at the individual. For me, it's all about like individualism, seeing people as individuals.
And you know what, to go off that made me think, like, I feel like Canada's the only country in the world really that has that as something that is brought up in general. Because if you go to a country like Italy, or you go to a country in Europe, or everyone has, or majority of people have the same background, the same upbringing. So when you go to Canada and everybody has a different culture, this is why these things have been brought up more. This is why we even have these conversations in the first place.
Yeah, because for like people that live like overseas, I'm saying like, yeah, there's different people in your country, but you guys have majority, like, I'm not saying you guys all look the same. No. You guys have like a majority religion like this. So of course you're not going to understand our issue or what's going on. You want to understand our loneliness, our isolation, our tribal nature, whatever, because and that's why sometimes people coming here, it's called a culture shock, or like vice versa.
100%. That's true.
Very true.
I think if you're reading the news too much and you're too much into politics, you will start to believe certain things of certain groups that are not true. For example, when people get sucked into that red pill movement, they start to have these insane views about certain things that there's nuance to, you know, or it just, whatever you're sucked in, like echo chamber. So maybe these people that had this view towards Muslims are in some sort of echo chambers, or same with other groups of people. They're watching the news too much. They're watching politics too much. They're watching certain YouTube channels too much. I think that's what it is. But if you go out and touch grass and go in the real world, people are fair. And actually, the funny thing is, I don't judge people like that, but I feel like they're judging me now. That's what I feel. Like, for example, I feel like we don't want to feel like we're walking on eggshells around certain people because the news is telling us they're very sensitive to this. They're going to pull allegations on us here and there. Like, for example, now people are afraid to approach other people that they like at the mall and get their number because it's harassment or assault. No.
That's crazy.
It's not true. I think it's scaring people to become divided and to see each other as enemies and like stereotypes.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's like some cultures that are like branded poorly, which don't really represent, because like we watch a lot of like travel videos, like Yes Theory and all that.
Yeah.
And they like show like how a lot of these cultures are like how beautiful they are, like how like hospitable they are, and how nice they are.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I'm like I was born here, like I'm Italian, but I feel like I'd have more in common with like a Muslim born in the Middle East than some people that are born here, born here, like their family have been here for generations. For example, or like sometimes I made this point on my channel, we have more in common with people that don't look like us or are like us than we think. For sure.
It's true. And we don't even realize it many times.
Yeah, if we have diverse friend groups, like for example, these topics, like for example, if you're more on the traditional side, or you know, not wanting your kids to be exposed to certain things, you might find yourself resonating with people that are Muslim, or people that are coming from these countries with not stricter religions, like they're more religious.
Or they're more passionate about it.
But but we're all the same. We all have a heart.
We all bleed red.
We all have blood.
Yeah.
We all have 2 lungs, 2 kidneys, 2 eyes, 2 ears. We're all the same.
Yeah,
we really are, and all this division is unnecessary.
Like I think like I don't know what the number was, but in biology we learned that it's like 0.1% is what differentiates us from everybody in the world. Like we're like 99.99999% similar.
You know, but from that standpoint,
differences make us unique, and it's really not me versus you type of mentality.
Cool. Awesome.
Okay, one more thing.
Go for it.
Are aliens real?
Look, I'm not surprised by anything at this point. If they're real, I wouldn't be surprised at this point. Sometimes you sometimes you go so deep down rabbit holes that you just are not surprised about anything anymore, about anything of this world. So, I mean, are they?
I said last episode, and I said yes.
Well,
I mean, I watched documentaries and stuff.
I think they're very similar to us. Like intelligent. When I say alien, not like
I just say another. When I think alien, I just think another life form.
Extraterrestrial.
So like if you found a worm on Mars, but similar to a worm, would you call that extraterrestrial?
Yeah.
Technically, yes. But when I think of alien, I mean like something that has a conscience and like is like not smart, but like they're just smart. Like they're like us compared to all the other animals.
Wow. So do they look like us too?
Maybe. I don't know.
They have
maybe big
clones
eyes
of us.
Maybe
they're having the same political issues. I don't know.
Imagine the politics on other planets.
Cool.
Dang, that's interesting.
Thank you, Alessia.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Guys, if you haven't checked her out already, we're going to link her info. Where can they find you?
You can find me on YouTube. It's simply Aless. I think it'll be in the description.
Yeah, it will.
I'll comment too.
Everything will be there. Like, subscribe, post notifications. You know what to do.
Thank you.
And thanks for watching another episode of Uncensored. We had a guest. Hope you guys liked it. Give us our feedback.
Thank you. Don't forget to subscribe to them.
Thank you. Awesome.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.